What is up, everyone? I'm Jeans, and today I'm going to be recapping the first round of the Grande Prix. So you'll see below me, this is the team that I drafted in an auction draft, and I'm going to have to play through this game using Nuzlocke rules. But I'm going to race with 7 other people who also did this auction draft with me, and I'm trying to be the first person to beat this game. So this is a recap of the first race, and I'm super excited to share all the highlights with you, show you how I did, and we are off. We're off to the first gym. Now this is Pokémon Emerald Blitz. It's designed for speed, so it cuts out every fight in the game except for the gym leaders and the Elite Four. So you're gonna see me hop on Flygon. I can jump over all the ledges and all the HMs like cut trees and smash rocks. And I'm just gonna make a beeline towards each gym. We're gonna do each gym back to back. And after that, we'll do the Elite Four and Champion. So I'm making a quick pit stop here to buy some berries. And each gym in this game is gonna be a random order. So I start with the water gym. And in this gym, Juan and Wallace have teamed up. And it's a double battle. So we're gonna fight against Tatsugiri and Dondozo, which is a pretty scary combination. Fortunately, my team is pretty well equipped for this fight. I've got Luxio, who has the Intimidate ability. So right off the start of this fight, they send in Dondozo and Tatsugiri. They team up to give Dondozo a stat boost, but Luxio's Intimidate ability is going to drop Dondozo's attack. And I'm also going to use the move Baby Doll Eyes on Eevee to lower Dondozo's attack even more. So Dondozo's attack has been lowered by 2 stages. And from here, I think it's weak enough where I can just go to Turtwig. I'm going to click Electric moves with Luxio, Grass moves with Turtwig. And from here, that should be enough to just finish the fight. So Luxio clicks a Spark, Turtwig clicks Absorb, and now it's just Tatsugiri in the back. This thing isn't nearly as threatening as the Dondozo. Water Pulse can still do pretty decent damage, but I'm not really worried. We're just going to click Spark and Razor Leaf, and that is the first fight done. Now, this is a race with 7 other people, and so when I had beaten this fight, I was the second person to have beaten the first gym, which I was really happy about. I felt like it was a good pace, especially, I think the double battles tend to take longer than the single battles. So I was happy to be on the pace that I was. Luxio and Turtwig made a really great combination in that fight. And now we're going to be on Mr. Briney's boat. We're not going to go straight to the second gym yet. We're going to actually first go to Slateport City. Now, in Slateport City, they've got that's sort of the central hub for all the markets in this game. So you can buy TMs, you can buy ability capsules and patches to change your Pokemon's abilities. And we're also picking up some heart skills on the way because we're going to use the move reminder later on. So we're going to pick up a Bullet Seed TM for Turtwig. We're going to get an ability capsule, and that's going to let me have the Flash Fire ability on Litwick. This is going to make it so that Litwick is immune to fire moves. And I'm going to make my way towards the daycare, actually. We're going to deposit our Swinub in the daycare. And when you put a Pokemon in the daycare of this game, you're not able to use it for the next gym, but after that gym, it comes out of the daycare with an egg move. And so Swinub's egg move is Avalanche. Super powerful move. It's 60 power, but it becomes 120 power if you get hit in the same turn. And so, especially in the early game, that's just going to be crazy, crazy powerful. And unfortunately, we end up getting Watson as our second gym, which kind of sucks that we're not able to use our ground type for this fight, but that's totally okay. We're going to level up all of our guys. Turtwig is going to evolve into Groddle. Groddle's going to be super useful for the electric gym since grass resists the electric type. Okay, we finished leveling up our guys. Here's the Watson fight. So he leads off with Geodude, and we've got our Groddle to click Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed hits randomly between 2 and 5 times. We get a 4 hit. Super happy about that because that means we just take out the Geodude in one move. Now, This Electrike has Fire Fang, which is super effective against my Grotle, but Grotle has so much defense that I'm not even really worried about it. So I stay in. They paralyze me, get a couple full paralyses, which is really unfortunate. Hopefully we can hit through here. No, we are getting so unlucky. But we finally land a Bullet Seed through paralysis. Are we going to be able to get enough Bullet Seeds to kill this Electrike? Yes, we are. Thank goodness. So now Watson sends in Magnemite. This thing is a Steel type, so my Fire types Pansear and Litwick are going to be good against this, and my Fighting type Mankey is also going to be good against this. Magnemite lands a Supersonic, and I decide I'm just going to go for a hit through Confusion. We get the 50-50, we hit through Confusion, and now we're both paralyzed and confused. The chance of hitting is super low, so I'm just going to switch to Mankey. I know this can outspeed. Karate Chop is super effective. Boom, Magnemite goes down. Alright, and last up is Voltorb. It's a Grass type, so using Fire types is going to be useful. Voltorb's going to charge up. This is going to double the power of its next electric move. So that did a lot of damage. And we get fully paralyzed. So I get super unlucky here. I decide I don't need to risk Pansear. I'm just going to go to Luxio. And I think I'm just going to win because Luxio has better stats than the Voltorb. Voltorb's going to click a bunch of Bullet Seeds. And Bullet Seed random to hit between 2 and 5 times. Getting 4 hits, pretty unlucky. And they just keep going for these Bullet Seeds. They keep getting so many Bullet Seeds here. They get a 4 hit into a 5 hit. It's alright though. Luxio's kind of the GOAT. Watson's going to heal up, hit another Bullet Seed. And it is crazy how many hits of Bullet Seed this Voltorb is getting off. So I decide I don't want to risk losing my Luxio to Bullet Seed. I switch to Eevee because I know it can quick attack and finish off this Voltorb. And that's the Watson fight. So it ended up being a little slow. We ended up getting paralyzed a bunch. We got hit by a lot of hits of Bullet Seed. And so I end up exiting this fight. I think I'm in 3rd or 4th place at this point, which is not bad, but I can definitely catch up. So I take my Swinub back from the daycare, and I put in my Mankey. So Mankey's egg move is Encore, which is such a good move in Nuzlocks. We go back to Slateport. There's now the Energy Guru who appears after Gym 2, and he gives me access to early evolutions for my Swinub and my Litwick. So I evolve them into Piloswine and Lampent. And our 3rd gym is Winona, which I'm so happy about. I just got Avalanche on this Piloswine. That's going to do massive damage to Winona's flying types. Plus, Pansear and Lampent are going to be really strong against her ace, the Tropius, which is a grass type. And Luxio's electric type is also going to be super useful for this fight. So I'm going in feeling pretty good. Alright, and here's the start of the Winona fight. So she leads Swablu, I lead Luxio, and 1 Spark, that's enough to knock out the Swablu. Alright, now Tropius comes in. This is her ace, but I have 2 fire types, so I feel pretty good about this. Tropius is going to go for a Sunny Day. That's going to boost Tropius' speed because it has the Chlorophyll ability, but it's also going to power up my fire type moves. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for her. Now, I don't want to risk losing my Pansear to a critical Aerial Ace, so I'm going to go back to Luxio. It's going to take an Aerial Ace really well, and its Intimidate ability is going to lower Tropius' attack. Now I'm going to go to Lampent to finish this Tropius off. We take a Leaf Tornado, no problem. The sun is still up. And we take an Aerial Ace and get off a massive Flame Burst to finish off the Tropius. Alright, now Swallow comes in, and I'm going to go with my Electric type Luxio. It gets off an Intimidate to lower his attack. And we get off a big Spark. Unfortunately, not quite enough to kill. We do get a Paralysis, which is nice. But their Quick Attack is going to move first. I decide to actually switch to Lampent here, thinking that they're going to go for Quick Attack. They do. And that's going to mean that I save a little bit of health on Luxio, so I might be able to switch it back in to get off a Spark on this Wingull. But I'm not going to go for that yet. I'm afraid that Luxio might die to 2 Water Pulses, so I end up just going with Eevee. It's got adaptability, which doubles the power of its normal moves, so 2 quick attacks is enough to take out this Wingull, and that is Winona 3. And this fight went really fast for me. I think I exited this fight in first place, but it was a very close first place. Like, I think people were definitely hot on my tail at this point. And so Gym 4, we get Flannery. This is awesome because my Dewpider is going to be able to evolve into an Araquanid. After each gym, we get a respective TM or HM, and so Juan and Wallace gave me the Waterfall HM, which is ridiculously powerful on this Araquanid. So we're gonna start out, we're immune to the Will-O-Wisp because of our Water Bubble ability, and 1 Waterfall is enough to just cleanly take out this Marowak. And now we're clicking Bubble Beam on the Torkoal, almost enough to just one-shot it. Flannery's gonna Hyper Potion, we're gonna get off another Bubble Beam. And I'm playing this like super risk-free. I'm going to Lampent, who 1 won't get hit by Attract, 2 has the Flash Fire ability, so we will never get hit by an Overheat. Torkoal goes for an Attract here. I don't really understand that. I don't know why. Does the AI know that I'm Flash Fire? I'm not sure. But Camerupt comes in. We're gonna go back to Araquanid. Since it's a bug type, it resists the Earth power, and Waterfall's just gonna take her out. And so last is Slugma, just gets outsped and hit by Waterfall. Super, super fast Flannery fight. And so at this point, I've really cemented a solid lead in first place. And being in first after the 4th gym is really useful because now we get access to Evolution Stones, and this means I get the first choice of whatever Eevee I want to evolve. And I end up going with Sylveon. I think that my team might be a little weak into Brawly. I think Sylveon's also going to help with Tate and Liza. We're going to actually go up to the move relearner here. We do need to move relearner Ancient Power on our Piloswine. Once Piloswine learns Ancient Power, that gives us access to the evolution Mamoswine. And Mamoswine is ridiculously powerful. That guy is so good. So we get Draining Kiss on Sylveon, we get Ancient Power on Piloswine. Not really going to be clicking Ancient Power very much, we just want it for the evolution. And we end up with Roxanne's gym, but in this game there's a 50-50 chance whether it's Roxanne or it's the bug type trainer Viola. And so we end up getting Viola this time, which I'm super happy about. I've got 2 fire types in Simisear and Chandelure, and frankly, I can just click fire moves into bug types. So we're gonna lead off Luxray into Viola's Masquerain. It's gonna get off an Intimidate. We're gonna also get off an Intimidate. And that Bug Buzz did a little more damage than I thought it would, and it lowered my special defense. So I gotta switch to Simisear here. It has no problem taking a Bug Buzz, and it's just gonna outspeed and get the KO with a Flame Burst. Alright, Volbeat comes in. This thing's annoying because it likes to use Confuse Ray. And am I going to risk my Simisear hitting through Confusion? No, it's looking like I'm just going to switch to Chandelure here. And Viola just goes for Hyper Potion. Chandelure has ridiculous amount of special attack, and it's just going to get the KO with a Flamethrower. Beautifly comes in. Once again, just going to fall to a Flamethrower. Ninjask comes in. This thing has Dig, and I'm maybe a little worried about that, so I go to Mamoswine just to be safe. They ended up just going for Bug Bite, no big deal. And we're finishing off the fight with an Avalanche. So, super easy, super fast Viola. I did lose a little time going to the move relearner, but because that Viola fight was so fast, I've still got a solid first place lead, and we are in Brawly's gym. So, I got Sylveon. I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to level up our Pokemon. I've got some other really strong Pokemon for this fight. Torterra has crazy high defense, which is nice. Chandelure with its ghost type is going to be immune to fighting type moves. Araquanid has a nice fighting resist with its bug type. So I'm feeling really good. Alright, and we're starting the Brawly fight. This is Brawly 6. He leads off with Machoke, and Sylveon's gonna do what Sylveon does best and click Draining Kiss. Does about half of this Machoke's health. Pretty good damage. We're just gonna heal off all the damage we took. Well, most of the damage we took. I don't think the 6 HP is going to matter. And Sylveon's just gonna click Draining Kiss. And that's all we really need. Any damage we take, just gonna be healed up by the Draining Kiss. And Brawly's gonna go ahead and Hyper Potion here. It's a little annoying, but no big deal. We click Draining Kiss here. And Hariyama's pretty low on health here. This is actually an Adamant Nature Sylveon, which buffs its physical attack. So I think Quick Attack might be able to knock out the Hariyama, but that was a real oversight. It was not enough. I wanted to save some power points on the Draining Kiss, but now I've kind of put myself in a bit of a tricky situation because Sylveon's low on health, so I'm going to have to use the rest of my team to take care of the Pokemon in the back. I go to Torterra, and I totally forget I have not given this guy Shell Armor. So Shell Armor lets you avoid critical hits, but this Farfetch'd is holding the Leak, which means any attack it does has a 50% chance to be a critical hit. And so I end up having to do a little bit of tricky pivoting here, but we eventually get in Chandelure. Flamethrower is absolutely going to knock out this Farfetch'd with less than half of its health. And Combustion comes in, should just be pretty easy. Peck is not anything to worry about. And the Metatite's last. It's going to faint to a Shadow Ball because it's super effective against its Psychic type. And that is Brawly 6. So didn't play that perfectly. Should have just kept clicking Draining Kiss, but ended up being pretty fine. We've still got a solid lead. We're still solidly a gym ahead of second place, and we're gonna start Norman. And I lead this Annihilate. He leads Spinda. Really easy close combat to knock out the Spinda. Okay, 4 Pokemon left. It's probably gonna be the Zoroark here, and it looks like the Slacking, but it's actually Zoroark in disguise. So we switch to Simisear. Shadow Ball, unfortunately, is doing way too much damage. I need to get in a Pokemon safely, and the only way to do that is to sacrifice this Simisear. So it put in good work, but I've already got Chandelure as my fire type. So sacking the Simisear for a safe line was absolutely worth it here. Now I'm going to send in Luxray, and this Zoroark is crazy. That is insane damage for a Psychic. I am potentially dead to a critical hit Shadow Ball. I just have to cross my fingers and hope that the Luxray can survive. If I end up losing Luxray, I've still got a team of 6, and I think I'll be okay. But I would like to bring Luxray on the Elite Four, and we do dodge the crit. So we've taken out the big bad Zoroark. The rest of this fight should be okay. I'm going to switch to Torterra on an Earthquake here. We're going to get off a Leech Seed to get some slow healing on this thing. And from here, it's just going to be a lot of switching back and forth, slowly letting this Leech Seed take out the Slacking. Annihilate is immune to the Facade. We get off a close combat. Does pretty good damage, but not quite enough to get the kill. So we're going to go back to Torterra on an Earthquake. And Leech Seed is going to take off that last sliver of health. That's the Slacking taken care of. There's 2 more Pokemon in the back. No big deal. We're going to go Chandelure on this X-Cloud. It's threatening to do big damage with moves like Hyper Voice and Fire Blast, but Chandelure is immune to both of those moves. Thunderfang, not anything to worry about. We're just going to click Flamethrower a couple times, and that's the X-Cloud. And the only Pokemon in the back now is this Obstagoon. It's a little scary, but we've got our Sylveon. This Obstagoon is a dark type, Sylveon is a fairy type. So we've got a solid type matchup here. Facade does decent damage. Moonblast isn't quite enough to get the KO, so I decided to make a safe play, switching to Annihilate so that we don't risk any potential critical hits knocking out my Sylveon. And we click Close Combat, and that's Norman. So once again, another quick fight. I think my lead got even bigger here. I think I'm like a solid gym and a half ahead of second place here. And I go back to buy the ability patch. I realize I still haven't given Torterra the Shell Armor ability, so now it has Shell Armor. Torterra will never be able to get hit by a critical hit. And last fight is Tate and Liza. Tate and Liza are going to exclusively use special moves against my Pokemon. So moves like Snarl and Light Screen are just going to be super helpful support moves, while the rest of my team can just do big damage. So Tate and Liza lead off with Claydol and Xatu. We're going to Volt Switch with Luxray on the Xatu because I don't want the Claydol hitting me with an Earthquake. I realized that Luxray actually underspeeds the Claydol, which I definitely wasn't aware of. So I guess Claydol could have just clicked Earthquake there, but I got lucky. They didn't go for an Earthquake. They just clicked Psychic on my Mamoswine. And now I've got Chandelure in. It's going to do massive damage with Ghost moves. I am a little worried about this Oranguru. I think it has Foul Play, so I end up going for a safe play, switching into Sylveon. I don't want to take any chances with my Chandelure because it's probably my best Pokemon. And we get a big freeze on the Xatu with an Ice Fang. So Mamoswine's putting in good work. Got a little sketchy going that low on health, but Mamoswine's okay. Gotta switch him out here though. And we go with Araquanid. Araquanid has really, really strong special defense, plus she has bug moves to hit psychic types for super effective damage. Critical hit psychic on Sylveon, a little unfortunate, but Araquanid's going to hit a huge leech life. The Oranguru goes down. And now Lunatone comes in. Xatu's going to Psychic the Sylveon, not doing much through the Light Screen. Psychic on Sylveon, still not doing much with the Light Screen. We get a Draining Kiss, and Araquanid hits a big Waterfall. And with the Water Bubble ability, it just straight up one-hit KOs that Lunatone. And I end up I switch my Sylveon for the Chandelure, just because Sylveon's getting a little low. Don't want to take any chances on a critical hit Psychic. But we click a Waterfall here, and Solrock's low enough for Shadow Ball is just going to knock it out. Chandelure has one of the strongest special attack stats in the whole game. So we do massive damage, we knock out the Solrock, and that is the gym phase down. Here we are at the Elite Four. Now we have Sydney as our first Elite Four member to take care of. Okay, I take off the Citrus Berry on Torterra. I know that Sydney has this really threatening Crawdaunt, and I don't want to take a ton of damage from a knockoff, so getting rid of that berry means knockoff's just going to do a lot less damage. We lead Sylveon, we hit a Moonblast on Cacturne, and I really screwed up here. So I was supposed to teach the Calm Mind TM to Sylveon that I got from Tate and Liza. Totally forgot to do that, and that's just going to make this really awkward because now I can't one-hit KO the Grimmsnarl. Sylveon's super low on health, and so I really can't use Sylveon for the rest of the Sydney fight. And I think my team is okay, but having a fairy type to deal with these dark types would have been really nice. But it doesn't matter. We go with Mamoswine. It clicks Night Slash. Even on a critical hit, Mamoswine can easily take it and just knock out the Absol with an Avalanche. Now here's the big bad Crawdaunt, but we go with the Luxray. It gets an Intimidate off on Crawdaunt, and they hit me with a Crab Hammer. Now that their attack is lowered, Torterra is super safe. We go to Torterra on a knockoff, but because we don't have an item, it's not doing much to us. And we get a big Giga Drain off. It just barely doesn't kill. Sydney gets a full restore. We Giga Drain again. And now is the Samurott in the back. And this is really scary. This thing has Mega Horn. I decided to do a calc to see how much damage Mega Horn is doing. I'm never dead to it. So they hit the Mega Horn. I click Giga Drain. And they've just got a little bit of health left. I'm pretty sure they're using Mega Horn here because I can't imagine anything else kills the Torterra. And Samurott uses Aqua Tail. So what did I miss? Well, Samurott's under a third of its health here. So its Torrent ability is active. And it actually did see a kill on my Torterra with the Torrent boost. So this was devastating, right? Like, I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? I just lost my best Pokemon to the first Elite Four fight. And now I have to do the rest of the Elite Four with 5 Pokemon. Can I really beat the rest of the Elite Four with these 5? We are going to find out. I think that Glacia, the Ice-type trainer, seems really difficult. So I'm crossing my fingers I don't get her. I needed a fire type for that fight. But now we're just fighting Phoebe. This team should be fine against Phoebe. It's not going to be easy. Having Mega Chandelure would be super nice because we could just Mega up, click Shadow Ball a few times, and get a few early KOs. But we don't have that luxury here. Still, I've got a good team for this. Araquanid is a really nice counter to the Typhlosion. 1 liquidation is all it takes. And here comes the Banette. And Banette recently was given the Phantom Force move, so not super threatening for this team. I'm just going to go Luxray. We can Intimidate, Attack Drop. Banette's going to click Phantom Force on me. Not doing enough damage to really be threatening. Crunch leaves Banette with like 1 health. So sad. And the Cursed Body means I can't click Crunch anymore, so I'm just going to Volt Switch out here. And I'm going to go to Mamoswine, hoping that an Earthquake does enough to get the knockout. It does. So we've got 2 Pokemon left. It's the Sableye. And I'm going to be real, Sableye's not very threatening. So I decided to just stay in and click Earthquake. Foul Play might do big damage. It does, but we're fine. We just keep clicking Earthquake. And down goes the Sableye. So Phoebe's got 1 Pokemon left. It's Dusknoir. This thing, not too scary. We're going to get an Intimidate off with Luxray. Shadow Punch goes into the Luxray. Heal up with our Citrus Berry. I'm going to get off a little chip with Crunch. The defense drop is super nice. And now I'm low enough where I'm afraid a crit plus burn damage might be enough to kill. So I'm going to go for a Volt Switch. Sylveon comes in, and Sylveon should just be able to finish off the fight. I don't know what I'm really thinking about. I should really just click Moonblast. And 1 more Moonblast should be enough. And that is the Phoebe fight. So no problem with Phoebe. I'm a little worried. I think Tucker and Glacia both seem really difficult. And we get Tucker. So having Chandelure with a Fairy Resist would have been very, very nice here. This team that I have now is a little rough into this fight. It's not bad. I don't have any Pokemon that are weak to Fairy. I just don't have any Pokemon that are strong to Fairy. So I don't know. Tucker's got some real threats. His Gardevoir hits like a truck. But we lead Mamoswine into the Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff, not really a threat. We give our Mamoswine a Lumberry so that it doesn't fall asleep from the Sing. And 2 Earthquakes is enough to knock out the Chandelure. Or the Wigglytuff. Now, Gardevoir, this is the real threat. I decide to stay in and click Avalanche, and it just barely doesn't get the KO. This was so sad. I really was hoping that Avalanche would be enough. And so now things are a little sketchy. I go Araquanid. Luckily, it's a Draining Kiss here, which is going to do way less damage. And Araquanid's able to get the KO with Liquidation, but Tucker still has 3 Pokemon in the back. Things are a little rough. My Pokemon are not very high on health, and I cannot afford to lose any more Pokemon. If I go into the champion with 4 Pokemon, I don't think I have a chance of winning the fight. So Luxray's going to get off a big Wild Charge. Once again, we just barely dodged the KO. And I'm getting unlucky here. And at this point in the competition, people are starting to catch up. Livy and Jason are both 1 fight behind me in the Elite Four. But my fights are going slow. I don't have this Chandelure anymore. And so I'm really feeling the pressure. I end up making a crucial mistake. I click Calm Mind against the Togekiss, and they Encore me into the Calm Mind, which is so awful. Because now I gotta switch out my Sylveon and get it back in. Togekiss goes for Dazzling Gleam. We cannot stay in with Araquanid because this Togekiss has Air Slash. And we get crit. Everything is falling apart here. I don't have any other option other than just to click Moonblast. Special attack drop is so huge. We do not risk any sort of high rolls killing me. And we heal up a little bit with Draining Kiss. Not really going to be enough to make a big difference. And here, my Pokemon are just really low health. I've got to take out 2 Pokemon while most of my team is really damaged up. So I'm going to go Torterra here. And it's going to have to take a bounce. I think it should be fine. I don't think Rapidash has crazy high attack. It's actually doing fine damage. It's so fine that we can stay in and get off 1 more Earthquake. And I go back into my party screen. I'm thinking, okay, I know that there's a Mawile in the back. Can I deal with the Mawile after hitting an Earthquake and taking out the Rapidash? And I figure out a line, and I'll show you what the line is. So we get the Earthquake. Luckily, no full paralysis. If I got a full paralysis, I think the run was over for me. But we go Luxray here. We get an attack drop with our Intimidate ability. Because I've got an Electric type in here, Mawile's never going to click Iron Head on me. So I'm going to Volt Switch out, do about half of its health, and Mamoswine's going to come in on a move that is not Iron Head. Barely survive, and we outspeed, get an Earthquake KO. That is Tucker. We got through that fight with no deaths, and I couldn't have been more happy. So we are moving on to the 4th fight. It is Brandon. I am so happy to have gotten Brandon here. Honestly, Drake would have been fine too. Sylveon does really, really good work into the Drake fight, but Torterra is probably the best Pokemon against Brandon in the entire game. We're going to lead with Araquanid because Brandon's going to lead with this Doug Trio. I don't want Doug Trio getting any hacks. It's got Iron Head for flinches. It has Tri-Attack for potential status chances. I don't want to risk any of that on Torterra. I'm just going to take it out with Araquanid because I know it's safe. I know it's consistent. And now Rhyperior comes in. And it's going for a big Stone Edge on this Araquanid. Here, I can just go straight to Torterra. Stone Edge isn't going to be very threatening to me. And we're just going to click a big Giga Drain. And Rhyperior goes down. Alright, Brandon sends in the Flygon. And we're just going to start setting up. We're going to get a Leech Seed off. It's going to drain a little bit of health from this Flygon each turn. We're going to set up a curse. It's going to raise my attack, raise my defense. It lowers my speed as well. That's totally fine. And now we're just going to start clicking Giga Drain. And so every turn I'm going to get healing from Giga Drain. I'm going to get healing from Leech Seed. And so I'm straight up healing more than Brandon is doing damage to me, which is amazing. And the Flygon goes down. I'm at 147 health. And I'm going to just repeat the same process. I'm going to get a Leech Seed off on this Regirock. And because I did an attack raise here, I'm actually going to go for an Earthquake instead of a Giga Drain, just because I want to do big damage. Did massive damage. Super happy about that. Now I'm going to go for a Giga Drain. Should be enough to get the KO, and I can heal up. Alright, and it's just Swampert in the back. No problem for Torterra. We're just going to click another Giga Drain. Brandon's going to protect, but he can only protect for so long. Oh, Swampert actually just lived on like 1 HP. We're going to get another Giga Drain. Is Swampert going to live? It is going to live again, but we're not worried. Muddy Water, not doing nearly enough damage. And that is the Brandon fight. So now we have 5 Pokemon. We're up against Champion Steven. And it would have been really nice to have Chandelure here. Having a fire type for Steven's steel types tends to be pretty useful. But I think that this team is probably still strong enough. People are catching up here, though. People are catching up real fast. I enter this fight. There are 2 people who are on the 4th Elite Four member. So I have to hurry. I have to play really fast. I lead with Luxray against the Skarmory. I know I can just click Discharge until I do enough damage to knock it out. Steven's going to go for a full restore. Go for another Discharge. I'm just going to keep clicking that move. And unfortunate Rock Slide flinch. Hopefully we don't get another flinch. We don't. Luxray gets a Discharge. And the Skarmory goes down. Alright, now Aggron comes out. Beautiful. We can Volt Switch on this Aggron to break its Sturdy. And now I can just go into a ground type, click Earthquake. I decided to go for Torterra because I have a resistance to this Earthquake. Dragon Claw is not going to do too much damage. We got off an Earthquake. It's a crit, it doesn't matter. That's Aggron down. And at this point in the run, I hear Nathan announce that Livy has gotten to the champion. So suddenly we have 2 people on the champion at the same time. I gotta really hurry things up. And this Armaldo is a little scary, but I've got Charm on my Sylveon. I should be fine. Crush Claw's not doing much. Rock Slide should be, or Rock Blast should be fine as long as they don't get like a 5-hit Rock Blast. And so I get a Calm Mind. I'm planning to just click some Draining Kisses and they Rock Blast. Oh my goodness, we got hit by 5 hits of Rock Blast. I'm at 33 health. I just YOLO Moonblast. I don't think it would have killed, but we get a critical hit. So I got super lucky there. Unfortunately, Sylveon's now going to go down to an Iron Tail from this Goodra. But Sylveon did his job, took out the Armaldo. We have 4 Pokemon against Steven's 3. And Mamoswine's just going to come in and take out this Goodra. So we're so close to victory. But here is the Mega Metagross. This is the big scary threat on Steven's team. I'm feeling so pressed for time. I go to Luxray, totally forget that Metagross's Clear Body is going to make my Intimidate useless. And this is really bad. But I decide, okay, I think if I'm sacking someone, it's going to be Luxray. I just need to stall out turns. The Mega Evolution only lasts 3 turns. So I decide we're going to sack Luxray, get an Araquanid. Araquanid can take any hit from this thing. And I'm playing a little too fast here. I go for a Crunch. Liquidation would have done more damage because it gets that double power boost from Water Bubble. It's okay though. Crunch is still doing enough damage. Maybe we're not going to be able to kill. But Araquanid goes down. We can get out Mamoswine. It's going to outspeed and click Earthquake. Even if Steven heals, it doesn't matter. We click Earthquake. We get a critical hit. didn't matter because we would have outsped and just clicked another Earthquake anyways. Cradilly's in the back. This thing is a monster. It's going to click Confuse Ray, confuse all my Pokemon. Giga Drain's just going to knock out the Mamoswine. Now we've got a 1v1 situation. Can Torterra take out the Cradilly? Livy's on the champion fight too. She has 2 Pokemon left. I have 1 Pokemon left. I'm going Curse with the Torterra. Am I even going to win this fight? Cradilly uses Recover. I'm so happy it recovered because that was just a sliver of health that it recovered up. Cradilly uses Confuse Ray. Torterra is going to have to hit through this confusion. It hits an Earthquake. 1 more Earthquake and we win. But if we get hit by confusion, it might be over. Torterra snaps out. It hits the Earthquake. And that is the first race of the Ever Grand Prix. I take first place. And oh my goodness, what an ending to that race. I get my team put in the Hall of Fame. Luxray, Sylveon, Chandelure, Torterra, Araquanid, Mamoswine. And what was the final time? We got 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 16 seconds. What a crazy run. Livy in second place, right behind me. 1 hour, 38 minutes. 2 minutes between first and second place. Absolutely crazy finish. While I was on that fight, Jason also made it to the champion fight. We had 3 people on the champion fight all at the same time. Unfortunately, Jason only had a 5 Pokemon team, was not able to beat the champion, and wiped. So our final results, me in first, Livy second, Jason in third, and I'll put the rest of the results on the screen. What a crazy first race. I'm planning on uploading more recaps like this in the future, so if you want to see them, make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching, and if you want to get in on the action, I've linked the Pokemon Emerald Blitz Discord down in the description. I'll see you in the next video.